Hey guys, Staplegun here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another Staple Speaks. Today we're going to be doing a tier list video. Documentary content will be returning tomorrow. Don't worry, I have got you guys sorted for this. But here we go. It's a tier list and these are the players with 100 Premier League goals or more. I have got them all assembled on a tier list for us, and I have not included the players who are currently playing in the Premier League. So no Sergio Aguero and no Harry Kane. Let's go straight in. Alan Shearer. I'm starting off with literally the most obvious choice in the list. I'm not gonna explain it. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. I'm gonna put him in memorable because I don't believe he's had that one club where you can say, okay, right, this guy's going to be the most memorable player in that club's history. And memorable kind of signifies a person who's not going to be a legend. He's not going to be in the Premier League Hall of Fame, but he's certainly going to be remembered for being one of the best players, being one of the best players for the clubs at that time period. We next go to Roy Keane, and if we were doing an Ireland football tier list, this guy would easily be in that god tier. But since it's the Premier League, I'm not gonna do that. He did do pretty well in the Premier League for Liverpool and Tottenham, but he's not really won the Premier League, so he's not going to be remembered by the Premier League casual watchers, but he's definitely going to be remembered by all the Ireland faithful. Next up, we go Nicholas Anelka, and I'm putting him in unworthy. He had so much talent. He was such a promising player, but I don't think he lived up to that hype. Yes, 100 Premier League goals is brilliant for a man like him, but I feel that he's not had that one club where you can say, again, he's not had that one club where you can say that he was the star, he was the best player on the team, because he was always arguably second or third in that department. Next up, we have Andy Cole. I'm sorry I messed up him and Dwight York last video. We move on. Andy Cole, club legend. We might as well do Dwight York at this point because they're both basically two. They're very inseparable. You can't have Andy Cole without Dwight York. Two infamous strikers for Manchester United. They're going to be remembered as one of the deadliest strike forces in one of Man United's biggest golden eras. We next go to Steven Gerrard. Again, pretty self-explanatory. God tier footballer. One of the greatest centre mids in England's history. His vision was second to none at some points, and really, really needs to be recognized as one of the best of his generation. We next have Ian Wright, and I'm gonna put him in legend. I really like Ian Wright as a player. He is such a brilliant player to watch because he always has that one sort of trick up his sleeve. His movement was so brilliant, and he got into positions where he really didn't have to do a lot of skill. But when he needed the skill, he would bloody deliver. It was so fun to watch this guy. Just if you want to know what it was like in the old Premier League, put on a video of Ian Wright. It shows you so much about what the Premier League used to be. We next have a current player, Romelu Lukaku. I'm gonna put him in memorable. He's not one. I'm pretty sure he did win the Premier League with Chelsea. I don't know exactly, but Everton, he was a goal scoring beast. However, I don't think he's going to be memorized in the Premier League especially, but I think he will if his move to Inter Milan, he's really rejuvenated his career, and I think he will go down as the start of the chain reaction that is pushing Inter Milan towards some heights that they have never seen before. We next have Dion Dublin. I've not really seen a lot of this guy, and I think that just tells you enough, right? Because you can research as much as you want, but if you don't find a player in the 100 goal tier, they're obviously very unworthy of being in that. I've heard he's a pretty good player for teams like Aston Villa, but I don't know enough about this guy, so I'm gonna put him in unworthy just because of the fact that I have not heard of this man. Emil Heskey is next. He's not really. He is a very legendary player in terms of football fans. Obviously, definitely, but I mean, do we remember him for his goal scoring stuff, or do we remember him because of KSI's memes in 2012 and 2013? It's kind of debatable, but other than that, he was a very good player, and most people don't really remember that about this guy. We next have Ryan Giggs. I mean, got there very easily. Most appearances in Premier League history, and I still hate how many people say that this man is overrated because he never won Player of the Season at Manchester United. I mean, just the fact that he could never win Player of the Season at a club like Manchester United just shows how good the United team used to be. And obviously, what a player. One of the greatest wide midfielders in the Premier League's history, and probably the greatest Welsh footballer of all time. If you want to say Ian Rush, totally fine with that. Next, you have Peter Crouch. I mean, same reasons that Emil Heskey, but honest to God, I love watching Peter Crouch play. He literally is the tall guy who was pretty good with his feet. He was that whole personification, and it was so fun to see him like volley shots from like 40 yards into a goal with Joe Hart, prime Joe Hart in it. You really need to watch this guy more. Next, we have Paul Scholes. I mean, come on, that's very self-explanatory, right there. One of the greatest midfielders in the Premier League's history and England's history. I'm literally going to be repeating the same points for this guy as well. Frankie Lampard, who I'm actually going to say is better than these two because of the fact that this guy's goal scoring and assist records are absolutely insane for Premier League standards. We next have Darren Bent, who I almost forgot was even in the 100 goal club. It's honestly kind of surprising. I mean, that just tells you enough, doesn't it? He's unworthy of it. We really know it. He was a bang average striker at best, but he had his moments, and I think that's what the unworthy tier is for. Didier Drogba. Now Didier Drogba has lesser goals than Darren Bent, but why is he in the God tier and Darren Bent's in the unworthy? Well, I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you needed a big game striker, if you needed anyone to score in a final for you, you pick Didier Drogba. You can even bin off Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. You pick Drogba. This man's goal scoring attempts in finals are absolutely insane. He doesn't need to score against Wigan Athletic and Derby County. He needs to go and score in the big games against Arsenal, Manchester United, and these big European nights. You pick Drogba. Matt Letizia is next. I think he's going to be a Premier League legend. He is Southampton's greatest player of all time. He really lacked the ambition because, honestly, if I think he either moved to a Chelsea or an Arsenal, he'd genuinely be recognized as one of the greatest players in Premier League history. However, he just lacked that ambition, didn't he? Thierry Henry got there again, very self-explanatory. Robbie Fowler, I'm gonna put him in legend. I don't feel he's on the same level as Thierry Henry in terms of strikers, but he is a very good striker. I think if there was a middle ground in this tier list, Robbie Fowler would be right between that God and legend. If I had to say, I'd probably say legend more than God, just because he's not gonna be the greatest Liverpool striker of all time. He never really was, but just that memory of him is enough to send mortal fear to enemy hearts. Next, we have Jermaine Defoe. Again, Premier League legend for this guy. Surprisingly, a lot of goals in the Premier League for Jermaine Defoe. And I think he will be recognized as a very good player. I think he will be immortalized. Maybe as one of those cult unsung heroes as that have come up in recent times. And I think that he will really be recognized as one of the unsung heroes in Premier League history. Michael Owen, I think same thing as Robbie Fowler, one of the great Liverpool players, but will he be recognized as like England's top 10 greatest strikers? Maybe not. I think that's the thing for him. Les Ferdinand is next. I'm gonna put him in memorable. That's gonna piss off a lot of the people who like the older parts of the Premier League. But my main argument with Les Ferdinand is he's not even the best player in his family. Like, Rio is a much better footballer than Les. I think we all know that. And Les had a few good seasons though. Not gonna let that knock him. He's going in memorable. We next have Teddy Sheringham, legend, brilliant striker for Manchester United. What a brilliant player to watch. Tottenham as well. He really popped off. Next up, you have Robin van Persie, again, legend. He is the whole epitome of Stan Kroenke era Arsenal because he moves to Manchester United and wins them the league. And yeah, we end on Wayne Rooney, a person who I think exactly like Robbie Fowler. He's literally right in the middle between God and legend because he is such a good player. Actually, you know what? He's the second greatest Premier League goal scorer of all time. His second most goals. He should be going in God, shouldn't he? I mean, this guy has so many iconic moments that he can't just list them all. You have to talk about each of them in its own separate video because of how brilliant they were. Honestly, when I did that best goals video for the Premier League, uh, of when I did it a few months ago, Wayne Rooney was easily the hardest person to do because I knew Manchester United was going to be a Wayne Rooney goal. I just didn't know which one to pick. And that's going to be the tier list, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like, please like, share, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And anyway, until the next Staple Speaks, peace.